Hello and welcome to another fantastic Fox Friday in Live for Speed Round 20 at West Hill National. We're Sim Broadcasts. I'm Pete, and joining me tonight in the commentary box, it's Michael Málek. On holiday, enjoying the sunny weather, I hope?
Good evening, everyone. Good to be here. Yeah, it's a very good weather in Switzerland tonight, so yeah, it's a good place to be at while commentating on this fantastic Fox Friday evening racing. And I'm looking forward to some great racing.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here, especially while you're on your break. But tonight we're going to enjoy a track we have seen plenty of in the past, but it's been a while with the Fox 4.4 kilometre, 2.7 mile West Hill National Circuit, the latest addition to the West Hill environment and Live for Speed, for a one-shot qualifying session followed by two 25-lap races, the second of which will have that all-important top 15 reverse grid. Both races also have a mandatory pit stop that the drivers must serve, which adds some extra spice to the event. So, without any further ado, let's take a look at what the championship standings are doing before we go into the qualifying session in the background. It's TJ who leads with 714 points ahead of Rex, Roger Chen, Gabor, Onifus, Sesti, Dr. Happy D, Al Payson and Pekka Koivunen, your top 10. And we'll let these scroll by, Michael, as we always do, because a growing number of people on this list, a super well-attended event, and it looks like tonight is going to be no exception.
Yeah, it's great to see that this one of the longest standings running events in the for speed are so well attended, even after like 15 years or for how long this league is going on. So it's great to see how long living this series and this simulation is.
Yeah, for sure. I've been running for a very long time, as long as most people can remember who are still around and active in Live for Speed. And 107 drivers have registered at least a single championship point so far this season. An impressive feat, but it is becoming quite a void at the top. It's quite a gap between TJ and Rex at the moment. And, well, no sign of TJ this evening, but we'll see if he shows up later on. Over in the Teams Championship standings, it's Fragmaster out ahead, but only by a handful of points. Not a lot of points separating them from Road Appraiser. So it's a straight fight between Rex, Onifus, TJ, and Doctor, it seems, with Sidus there or thereabouts, but yet to break into the 1,000 point barrier. But anyway, we will let the other page of results scroll by, and then take a look at the qualifying session that we have going on in the background. Drivers just warming up their tyres and making their way around for their first timed laps. Thank you everybody for joining us for round number 20 of the 2024 season of this championship. We are approaching halfway through the year, and we are broadcasting up until the final round 51. One race a month this season, broadcasted live here on Sim Broadcast, and it's always for the events that have those two races. So 2 25-lap races this afternoon. Let's go to the track, Michael, and see how qualifying is shaping up. So we've already got a few times on the board, and it looks like it's Zesty, Rex, Doctor, Red Fox, and Perry D01 who have set the early times. I think qualifying must have gone off a little bit early today, Michael. So we've unfortunately missed a few laps from some drivers, and it's one-shot qualifying, so we will not see those guys out on track. Oh, it's not the real quali yet. There we go. I've preempted it. We've gone live a little bit early, and hopefully we get a restart. So my apologies. The driver's doing some warm-up, and now we're into the qualifying session. So my apologies for that. And Michael, let's see who we get first out on the track.
Well, first some unauthorized vehicle, which was spectated very quickly. But the first to hit the track should be Roger Chen. Let's see if that's the case.
We've got an Ayub.
Yeah. And I think he will be spectated very soon as well, because he should be more towards the later half of the list. We are going by the connection list of all drivers, and Ayub should be like 20th. So unless there's some different agreement, he shouldn't be running at this point. Let's see how it will go.
Yeah, we'll get some confirmation of what's going on. In the meantime, here's the car, which we forgot to introduce. The 2-litre inline-4 mid-engine rear-wheel drive Fox is the car we always use for the Fox Friday series. 190 brake horsepower, 490 kilograms. And it looks like Roger Chen is now out on the track. But we do have a couple of other drivers also out for a jolly. So hopefully they will be removed, and we can get the correct order, the correct race qualifying running order clarified to us. But yeah, let's turn our attention to Roger Chen, who is warming up. We think he should be the first driver to set a time.
Yeah, I hope so far it's still on the track, so there might be some agreement, but we will keep an eye on the Roger Chen now, as he's finishing, not yet, but he's about to finish his out lap. So I guess we will stay for him for the whole lap and show the track we are running tonight, as he has just 2 more corners to go before he starts his flying lap. It's right here coming onto the back straight, under the bridge. Just one more parabolica-ish turn.
Apparently Ayub is on a lap. He was allowed to go first, so let's pick him up as we head through turn number 2 and up towards the first sector line. A little bit of a break from tradition. Normally we go, as Michael said, in connection list order, but it's Ayub who apparently is asked to go first. So the organisers have allowed it, and we should pick him up for the remainder of his lap as he heads into the infield. Oh, losing the rear of the car over the curb. super easy to do. These curbs are not that generous on the infield of this track, especially with the quite wide rear end of this car. Almost dropping the car there, Michael, as he brings the lap to a close.
Yeah, he's now at the point where we pretty much go back to Roger Chen before. So just 2 more corners to go. His split is pretty decent, 52.8 seconds. Now onto the back straight under the bridge, and in about 10 seconds he will be into the last turn, which is a quick left-hander going a little downhill. Let's see how his braking goes. He brakes very light, hits the apex pretty much perfectly. Not very wide on the exit, and let's see what time he sets as the provisional pole for tonight's Fox Friday race. And it will be 1 minute, 30 seconds, and 85 hundredths of a second.
Nice opening time. And now I think we need to pick up with Roger Chen, who will be completing his lap as well. I'll pace him briefly on the screens. He is next, as far as I know. And the number 23, always quick in Fox, but can he do the job here? Can he get it onto the front row? Something we don't see that often from Roger Chen, but he's always there or thereabouts. He is able to beat Ayub's time by over a second. So good effort from him. As Al Payson comes around the hairpin with a bit of a slide. Quite a lot of rubber already left on the track there from testing that we picked up briefly at the beginning of the show. And then onto this back straight. We missed the chicane, which you can just see in the background there. No chicane in this configuration. A nice straight run, which is going to be exciting in the race, isn't it, Michael? We're going to end up with lots of slipstreaming down into the final corner, which Al is coming through now.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a more favorable configuration for overtaking opportunities at the end of the back straight, as it allows for a higher speed and more drafting. As he crosses the finish line now with 1 minute 30.6, and that's a provisional second place. Let's see how his teammate Finn UK will do. His split so far wasn't very impressive, so I expect him to be at the end of the 4-man table after he crosses the line as he goes sideways through the final turn and onto the main straight. And let's see what the gap between him and the provisional pole is. It's 1 minute 32.3 seconds, so it's 2.5 seconds if I count correctly.
Yeah, almost. Quite a way off there, but the next car is his teammate Onifus. Normally he qualifies very well. We do have almost a second gap at the front at the moment from Roger Chen to Al Payson, so plenty of room for drivers to squeeze in. Will it be Onifus? It will, but still, Roger Chen, well, he might actually have a decent chance at the front row here, because it seems like nobody can get near him at the moment after 5 cars have already driven out. But here comes Rex. He's been on fine form recently for the first half of the year, and let's see if he can get pole. He can provisionally. 1.5 tenths quicker than Roger Chen with a 1:29.6. So we turn our attention away from the Fragmasters team briefly to Friends United Rocket, who will be car number 7 to qualify. Oh, and that's not how you want to take the final corner at all.
Yeah, he's having some mechanical damage on the right rear, so I suspect he made some major mistake in the first sector. As he goes almost quarter a minute behind the leader, so must be a terrible lap for him.
Yeah, he won't have enjoyed that as he shows his displeasure by straight lining the first corner in his warm down lap. And Connix is next across the line for the Master Race Car team. First of many MRC drivers. In fact, I think we've got 6 tonight lined up, ready to go. So plenty of representation from your own team here tonight, Michael. Must be good to see for you.
Yeah, it's great to see so many teammates running tonight, and I'm looking forward to some great results for us. As Connix goes second provisionally, only 200ths of a second behind Rex, so that's a very impressive time. And let's see how Happy performs.
Yeah, I don't see. I think did Adal? Yeah, Adal's just gone out, so Happy D is next to finish, but Adal will be out as well at some point. In fact, he's on the track doing a lap now. So let's watch Happy D across the line. Let's see where he goes. Normally does quite well in qualifying. Put P4, so second row provisionally, and more crucially, I think underneath the 1 minute 30 barrier, which is seemingly crucial as we see. Well, we don't see, but Kig has just run into the wall underneath the bridge. He went very wide out of the midsection.
Yeah, it wasn't the best line through there, and he has lost several seconds. So it's safe to assume that he will be around P7, P8 in the current table. He drives rather safely the final turn, and let's wait and see what final time it will be for him.
So Kig will not have a good time, unfortunately. P9 for him as we switch to Adal, who is running out of order, but will complete the qualifying session very soon. I am a massive fan, actually, Michael, of this Fox livery that you guys have put together. Was it for a championship, or what was it for? Because it's a very, very nice livery. That.
To be fair, I don't really know, because to me it came out of nowhere, and I can say only one thing, that I absolutely love it.
Yes, great, really, really nice. As Adal puts that livery in P8, so again, probably won't be too happy with that as we switch to Pedro BR, who is electing to use it. I'm trying to make out what's on the number board and see where it might be from, but I think it's just a number that the drivers have picked. It's very, very nice colours. And Pedro comes across the line in P7. Coming around the final corner now is Sin Gabri, driving in a maroon Ferrari livery. And let's see what time and what place he is going to put the car. P10. So knocking Finn, Kig and Rocket down position. And we get to watch most of a lap from the first of, how many have we got connected? 3 Road Appraiser cars at this point. We haven't got TJ in the server. Dark is the first of the 3 RP cars out. And that's another very nice looking livery.
Absolutely, and another nice looking split from Dark, so that if he can keep pushing through the rest of the lap and secure some good starting position for race 1. He breaks very late for this hairpin, goes downhill a little bit. Very impressive second sector, 51.97 hundredths of a second, so that's about where the leading drivers in this qualifying were at that point, so he should be around top 2, maybe top 3, if he doesn't make some terrible mistake in the final turn. Let's see.
Well, don't jinx it. Let's see what he can manage over the curb. Nicely hooks it up and hits the apex perfectly on the first instance. You want to miss this second apex and drive out nice and wide to carry all the momentum onto the home straight. Looked pretty smooth, that, and yeah, as Michael alluded to, some nice sector times. Can Dark put it on pole? No, he can't. It's exactly the same lap time. It's a dead heat between Rex, but because Rex was sent out first, Dark has to start behind, and that is just the way qualifying works in this format. So he'll be kicking himself for that, but you know, there's nothing to be done. Who have we got next? We've got his teammate. We've got Doctor up next.
Well, there is one thing he can have done, and that's joining Fragmaster, which is on the top of the table, which would secure him the pole position.
That's true. That's true. Here comes Doctor. Currently in the same team as TJ. They are second place in the team's championship standings at the moment. Sole representative Doctor goes P4. Yeah, he won't be particularly pleased with that, especially considering the number of drivers who are yet to go. And well, there you are. That's how happy he was with his performance. So next we've got Red Fox, another Master Race Car driver, all running that lovely black, white and red livery across the start-finish line. P12 for Red Fox. And then we go to Gabri's teammate, Mozart, who has been into the wall in a Red Bull one-off livery inspired Fox there. White Bull.
Yeah. Let's see where he slots. So far, it doesn't look like a very good lap from him, and he's on a P15. Yeah, P15. So he will have to do a lot of work to get through the field in race 1. As the next one to cross the line should be Rotopresa Lucas, I believe. He's on the start-finish straight already, so it must be him on the background, and goes 8th fastest. Now we are switching to a new player for me, I believe. I don't know how to pronounce that, other than CSE. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean, but either way, he has a decent second sector, and let's see how well he goes through the final turn. Hugs the apex rather well, goes a little bit wide, but all goes good, and let's see if he's in top 15 by the time he crosses the start-finish line. And he goes P16, so just outside of that target I set for him. As the next over the line is Hachiraku from SRP with Descent, sector 2. Again, hugging the inside apex, going a little bit wider through the final turn and onto the start-finish straight. Let's see how he manages in comparison to other drivers. And that's P15. And now to his teammate Master, who had even better sector 2, 52.3 seconds. So should slot ahead of both of these drivers we mentioned before. And let's see where he slots. That's P8 with 1 minute 30.18 seconds. Next over the line is a Berdaruk.
Yeah, as he comes up to the final corner, it'll be the 22nd car across the line, and we're expecting at least another 10 to 15, if not more, to take part in this qualifying session, and another spectacular number of cars participating in Fragmaster's Fox Friday. As Badruk comes up to the line, and P14, as we've got Weisbold, which Chris is going to quickly Google how we pronounce that, because I feel like we always get it wrong, and we ought to do that name justice. So as he comes up to the final corner, let's see what lap time we will end up with. Bichabolia, apparently. Apparently it translates to "it will be better," so let's see if that translation holds true. And across the line at P15, so solidly mid-grid by the end of this, probably. As we switch to Camaro, bright orange, easy to spot.
He didn't have a very good sector 2 so far, pretty much 1.5 seconds behind the top drivers, so his final time will be only good enough for the top 19th. And the next over the line will be French Loser, a very interesting nickname, who is on the outlap already, so there must be some gap.
Yeah, it's Kirku next, across the start-finish line to complete the next lap. Hydein was on a lap but crashed and may or may not be allowed to do a lap towards the end of the session, but he is allowed to do a lap, so he'll be out at the end, probably, as we continue down the order. Kirku87, very familiar name to Fox Friday, and running a Paris 2024.
And TJ has joined the server.
Oh, TJ's here, lovely.
It's safe to assume that DJ will be attending tonight's racing event after all. I wonder if he'll be last to qualify or if he'll be given the priority. I suggest that the second may happen, as Kirku is about 1 second off in the second split. So
French Loser has had a crash in the background, but we're going to watch Kirku finish his lap. I think that lap will be aborted. Let's see what happens here as Kirku rounds the final corner and points his car squarely at start finish. And where is it going to be? It's going to be P18. So again, probably not the lap that Kirku wanted necessarily from this session. As we switch to this car, which has quite a lot of damage, went off the track in the infield just before the hairpin section, and this is going to be a tricky end to the lap. Definitely a loss of rear downforce, and then another abort. So possibly allowed to do another lap at the end, but we'll have to wait and see. Perry D 01, final corner. See what Perry D can manage.
He should be about 2 seconds down on the top drivers, so it's P23 for him.
Let's see what Mandula can do. Normally he finishes races well, but let's see what happens in qualifying today. Just one shot for all the drivers here, which is why we only see them all once in the session. They get one out lap, one flying lap, and that is kind of part of the charm of this championship. It has P8 for Mandula, decent. Now we're into Sidus territory with Zesty to begin with, and that's onto the grass ever so slightly, but shouldn't have compromised the speed on the back straight too much. Let's see what happens at the final corner. Makes or breaks the driver, this one. You've got to chuck it in with confidence. You don't want to go anywhere near the grass. You want to take an apex there and then run out wide without letting the car get away from you at all. You don't want any sliding through this final corner, do you, Michael? Else you'll scrub all the speed off.
Yeah, you really need all the grip you can have, and that's what Zesty did, and sets the provisional pole about 700ths of a second ahead of Fragmaster Rex. And it looks like Gabor is even faster provisionally than Zesty, so he might be able to steal the provisional pole position from his teammate. Let's see how it goes for him.
Yeah, we're going to get onboards from Gabor this evening. He's providing his onboard view for our entertainment. Thank you very much for that. As he comes across start finish to set the provisional pole time, another 500ths of a second quicker than anybody in tonight's qualifying session. It's starting to boil up towards the end here, Michael. We've got a few more drivers still waiting to come out. We've now got TJ on the track. He's not on a lap yet. We've got Pantheo next to come across the start finish line, so we'll pick up with TJ once he's closer to the end of his flying lap. But can TJ displace Gabor with that excellent time, a 1:29.48, as we see Pantheo round the final corner? What can Pantheo manage?
So far his splits weren't very impressive, and I'm seeing him running up 2 tires, so he should be driving the race setup, and that's good enough only for P24. And
here's a team we've not seen for a while. Conquest Racing, sorry. Conquest Racing Hydyne. Not seen them in competitive, in competition for a while, but good to see Hydyne here as he comes up to the start-finish line. P30. So fairly far down. And now we switch our attention to Road Appraiser TJ, current championship leader in the Drivers' Championship. P2 in teams alongside Doctor. Fragmaster currently leading the way in the team's championship standings, but let's see if TJ can take it away from Sidus today, Michael.
Yeah, he's 100 of a second ahead of Gabor on the second split, so it should be very close. And he goes.
He kept that hundredth of a second. That's all it was. But it's all he needed in the end. That's super impressive. The margins here are absolutely tiny. But in the end, you only need a tiny margin, as we've got Car Fryer currently frying his car in the gravel trap, trying to get the car out as Superman will overtake him. Sorry, Spider-Man, wrong superhero, overtakes to set his lap first. So let's see what Spider-Man TM can manage in another Ferrari livery.
Yeah, it's safe to assume that he will end up in the second half of the grid, as he's about 2 seconds behind the top drivers in the second split. So it could be anywhere between P20, P25, I guess. Let's see how it goes.
We don't even need the timing tower with Michael in the commentary box. Let's see where he ends up. P30, so maybe we do need the timing tower. Car Fryer next. This will be last place, probably. 34th there. Got stuck in the gravel for most of the lap. As we switch over to Igor, TXU for the TAV team. And it looks like we're going to have 36 drivers totally, as we've also got Johnny SVK on a lap. Oh, as Igor runs wide, and that's a shame in the final corner. But it is so difficult sometimes to get the car to stay on the grey stuff. It's quite a wide piece of tarmac, but you carry a lot of speed into there, Michael.
Yeah, and especially with cold tires, which is exactly what happened to Igor, as he's running the harder R2 tires. So I assume he's qualifying with race setup. And because of that mistake, at 1 minute 42 seconds, he's at P33. So he will have a lot of work to do. As we now switch to Master Race Cars JSK. Should be Johnny SVK with somewhat reasonable second split time. And let's see how the rest of lap goes for him, as he's now on to the back straight, a very long straight with only one hard braking zone waiting for him. He gets in now, brakes very late, but manages to hug the apex very well. It's a pretty good line, and that should help him in getting some decent position onto the starting grid of the first race.
Yeah, the sector time wasn't amazing, but let's see where he can put it. 22nd on the grid. And that, I do believe, is the final qualifier of this afternoon's running. So let's get a rundown of the order while the drivers do their final warm-ups before the first of two 25-lap races here this evening. So on our pole position, we can confirm that we are going to have TJ for Road Appraiser Championship leader by 100th of a second over Sidus Gabor, who will join him on the front row. Zesty and Rex will share row 2. Dark and Connix on row 3, with Doctor, Roger Chen, Happy D and Onifus rounding out the top 10. Mandula, Master, Lucas, Al Payson, Pedro Biar, Ayub El Hanouni, Adal, Adam Badaruk, Bijabulja, I think, MRC Red Fox top 20. Over on the second screen, we have Gabri for Sin, with Johnny SVK, Kirko87, Hachi Roku, Camaro, Pantheo, Fin UK, CSE, Perry D01, and Mozart, your top 30, with Spider-Man, Kig, Hydine, Igor TXU, Rocket, and Car Fryer supposedly running race setups, I guess, during qualifying, Michael. We'll see what they can manage in the race when it turns to half past 7 UTC. So in around about 2 minutes time, we should get our first race underway. There is a counter behind there showing that we've got about 4 minutes to go before the start of that race, and that is going to be 25 laps long. The drivers will have to serve a mandatory pit stop during that time, which sometimes can cause quite a bit of trouble during these quick races. Michael, drivers practicing pit stops in the background actually as we speak.
Yeah, the worst that can happen to you is running in too quickly and receiving drive penalty for speeding, and that's something you really need to avoid in these short races where this is absolutely crucial mistake to make, and you have to avoid it at all costs. So practicing the pit-ins is a very reasonable thing to do in the last minutes before the race.
Yeah, we've got drivers coming into the pit lane in the background, just doing that very practice. The drivers that don't do this practice are the ones that tend to suffer a little bit. So that tends to be the case. So well, let's take a look then, refresh our memories with the teams and drivers championship standings. We'll start with the drivers championship standings. It's TJ leading the way with 714 points over Rex. Rex qualified in P4 today. Sorry, not P4. He qualified. When did he qualify? I've forgotten already. But not on pole position. And TJ will want to extend that gap if he can. Yeah, Rex did qualify fourth. So Rex with some work to do here, Michael, in race one.
Absolutely, and I'm sure it will be a great spectacle with almost full grid, which is at this point 36 cars. Let's see if anyone disconnects or joins without qualifying. But it's near a full grid of 40 cars this track can handle, and I'm sure it will be a very exciting 25 laps to witness. And let's not forget that after that, another 25 laps will be there with top 15 reversed, so even more racing will be happening tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting. Race 2 especially with that reverse top 15, and teams championship standings also with a whole bunch in the balance. The FM team and Road Appraiser team very, very tightly tied on points, so a little bit less of a void in this championship standing than the other one, which means that we have a fight on our hands between Fragmaster, which has a very good turnout, and Road Appraiser, which also has a very good turnout. FM2 doing slightly better than RP2. RP2 down there in P13 with Dark and Ricardo. Ricardo not here at the moment. We've got, I think we've got 3 or 4. In fact, yeah, we do have 3 RP drivers, Dark, Doctor, and TJ. But yeah, RP2 there with just one of the drivers allocated to that team here. 1 minute to go, Michael, before the start of race number 1. And I'm looking forward to turn 1. There's going to be a whole load of slipstreaming. Do you think that TJ is going to keep hold of that first place?
Well, one thing about TJ I noticed just now is that he didn't actually attempt the qualifying in the end. So if he does attempt, he will have to start from the very back of the grid. So, is he? Yeah, I missed that. Oh. My bad.
Michael was evidently asleep during TJ's pole lap. TJ was in quali and managed to do a very nice time, 1,000th of a second. You even commented on it yourself.
Yeah, there are so many drivers that I lost myself in the process. Sorry, TJ.
It's fair enough, it happens.
We love you.
He was late, to be fair. He wasn't in the qualifying session at the beginning, and we did talk about it. But anyway, we have a grid, and we are going to be racing in just a few seconds' time. Michael, please do the honours. Take us away for race 1, 25 laps of West Hill National in the Fox.
Yeah, with TJ on pole position, who did break my internal code. We'll be defending the lead from Gabor, Zesty, Rex, Dark, and Doctor, which are right on his tail, and we are now waiting for the lights coming up in just a few seconds. Some drivers still rejoining the track. It's now all red lights on, and we are now going green. And DJ has a good getaway. Gabor now slots right behind him. So does Dusty, so it's now a lot of zigzagging, trying to break the slipstream. Rex gets alongside Dusty, as does Gabor getting alongside TJ. Let's see how it goes. They're still side by side. It's now upper hand for Gabor into the turn 2, and yeah, he gets ahead of TJ as of now. Justin Petrie is now getting ready to attack TJ as well, so it's a great start for Team Sidus. Pretty got very wide, but otherwise the start is pretty clean. As now Gabor holds
nice bowl
TJ.
shot in the background. Hard into the wall. We've also got someone else there in the Williams livery off at the back as well, but Gabor currently leading the way. That's Igor just rejoining there, but you know, a good start from Gabor. He's managed to get the jump up into first place, just ahead of TJ, who is following him very closely. Zesty there in P3 with Rex maintaining P4. Dark and Doctor 5th and 6th. Roger Chen, Happy D, Onifus, and Mandula the top 10 as everybody weaving to try and get Slipstream down this very, very long back straight. And thanks very much to Gabor again for his onboard, as we've got a pretty big group around Al Payson, Michael.
Yeah, it's fantastic racing so far. As we are going 3 wide into the last turn, as Al Payson is now in that group with Edel and Bardarouk. And it looks like the leader of this particular group at this point is Bardarouk, with Al Payson right behind him. And there's so many cars going side by side. I don't know who to focus on. There's a group of 4 cars going into the first turn. But as of now, Gabor is now building some small lead over TJ, who gets an even bigger gap over Zesty, who's been closely chased by Road to Praise of Dark. And my apologies. It looks like Rex is behind Zesty, and then it's Dark. So yeah, there's even more chaos in my mind, but it looks like it's Zesty, Rex, and then Dark. As we are now observing Dark trying to get closer to the car ahead, as he has instead to defend from Roger Chen in P6, who's very hungry for his position and should be able to take advantage of the slipstream, but it looks like the gap is growing instead of shrinking. So
yeah, it wasn't a good exit. Didn't work at all, as we've got Adal in the slipstream of Badaruk, and this might be an easy overtake down into the final corner. Oh, no, thinks about it, and thinks about it again, and is going to go for the move. Yeah, goes for the move on the brakes. Took 2 looks, and then finally decided to go for it. But now you're going to see... Oh, actually, that's who's that going through? That's also...
That's Al Payson.
Al Payson, yeah.
He benefits from this fight, and he's now side by side with Badaruk, who's trying to get back and should have the upper hand into the first turn. As in the background, there's a 3-wide situation with Red Fox. Oh, there was almost a collision, but Red Fox is now in...
There was a collision. That's Johnny SVK, his teammate, making contact with him on the rear left of his car, as Gabor still leading the race, but only just over TJ. The gap under half a second. These two trying to pull away from Zesty, as we've got Mozart in the pit lane. And, well, our top 4 super, super close together as they start to bunch up into groups of 2 by 2.
Yes, so much is happening on as we are now watching Doctor going side by side with...
Happy D off into the gravel. Yeah. That was side by side with Doctor. Onifus managing to take advantage of that. As Happy D is going to take a little bit of time to rejoin. Needs to be careful. Rejoining in front of a couple of his teammates there, as that's Al Payson who goes through. Happy D not having a happy time. Losing a ton of places and causing all sorts of chaos in the background, as Al Payson is still in a fight here. This is Pedro BR now that he's got to worry about into the final corner, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. Pedro BR is now in a perfect opportunity to steal the position from the car ahead, but so far it wasn't very effective, as Doctor and Onifus are going side by side over the start-finish line. Doctor having the overdrive mode enabled and should stay ahead of Onifus through this turn. Let's see if Onifus tries something in the following turns, as he's now in the slipstream. As in the background there's another 3-1 situation, and Happy D after that major crash is now in the pit lane, as Mandula is going side by side for P8 with Onifus and has to slow behind into this technical section.
Yeah, it's still super, super close at the front. I don't remember a Fox Friday race with so many corners where drivers were able to stay this close to one another. TJ is still glued to the back of Gabor's car. Half a second, 50 milliseconds the gap, and that's just too much actually for a slipstream opportunity. So the slipstream opportunity, the gap that you need is very, very slim in this car to be able to affect a pass, but it's amazing really how close they are able to stick to each other, especially Roger Chen, who may have an opportunity on Dark here, although I think he's already backed out of it. so won't be making a move for P5 just yet, but let's see if he gets a good exit. No, I don't think so. Maybe a little bit of a toe, but I think he's too far away to make a move on this lap.
Yeah, the gap is too big as of now, but I'm sure that he will have plenty of opportunities to get there. As Bedrook is side by side with Finn UK, and let's see who gets the better outcome of that.
Yeah, we got Al Payson in the pit lane. Early pit stop for Al Payson. He did have a bit of a gap as well, as we've got Badrook side by side with Pedro BR, and a two wide in the background between Pantheo. Sorry, no, that's Finn UK and Connix. Oh, is there going to be contact? Yes, there is. Ooh, well held for Badrook there. That could have been awful. That could have been two Master Race Car drivers out of the race. Fortunately not.
Yeah, luckily for us, both drivers survived pretty well. And while Finn UK tried to get around Connix, well, he's still trying. He's actually effective, and Connix, after a mistake,
big incident. Sorry, coming out of turn 2, Ayoub Al Hanouni spinning in front of a couple of other drivers, and fortunately, again, nobody collected. But Ayoub losing a ton of places now, as we see Pantheo still side by side with Connix into this corner here. But Connix off the track a few corners ago in the same fight that we had with that was with Finn UK, and still not able to get past a Fragmaster car. But let's see, there is a slipstream opportunity here. So we've got another MRC car off in the background. That was Kig. We've lost Mozart from the race. He's spectated. We're down to just 33 cars, but after 6 laps of racing. And so who's that off on the inside there?
That was Finn UK.
Finn UK. Yeah. But side by side, briefly were Pantheo and Connix, and now Pantheo is going to try to go for the... Well, he's forcing his way to the inside. Connix really didn't want to let him do it. And Pantheo glued to the gearbox of that Master Race car ahead of him. Through turn 1 and 2, goes wide at turn 2, probably because of the dirty air. Oh, as we've got Carfryer off at turn 1, hard into the wall and out of the race, spectated. As you can see the situation at the front now, Gabor has pretty much backed everybody up, and we are going to have some slipstream action between Zesty and TJ. It's possible that Gabor's been involved in a bit of a backmarker traffic. The chat would lead us to believe in the server, so that might be why Zesty now has an opportunity to go for the inside. Michael on TJ. On TJ.
Yeah, perfect dive from Zesty, and he takes the position now, but TJ has a perfect opportunity to take the position back now, as he's waiting to get before getting into the slipstream of Zesty, as he does now. He's getting a perfect speed advantage, go side by side. And let's see who gets ahead. And yeah, TJ manages to get the position back. And he goes very defensive, as Zesty is really hungry for the P2, but has no opportunity in these particular corners. So he has to stay where he is and retry later.
Yeah, turns 1 and 2 are so high downforce that it's very hard to stick close. And that's actually allowed Rex to get, I think, closer than Zesty is to TJ, so opportunities throughout our top 4 for changes in position here. After quite a long time of driving, we've got very close battles up and down the grid. So West Hill National proving that it's more than suitable for a bit of Formula XR driving, as Rex now very close behind Zesty. Surely there's got to be a move on here.
Yeah, he had a perfect line through that turn, and he's definitely in the slipstream, and he goes already side by side. Just moves out, as he knows that this particular battle is lost, and let's see if he breaks very late. But yeah, it looks like Rex is definitely ahead of Zesty at this point.
Yeah, Roger Chen in P5 now, Dark P6 behind, also a fight going on, as Gabor starts lap number 8 ahead of Road Appraiser TJ, who takes the fastest lap of the race, and Rex in P3, Zesty in P4. with Dark and Roger Chen still side by side as we run up to turn 2. Dark on the inside, Roger on the outside, still side by side. Roger able to hold it around the outside. That's crazy. Will there still be a fight into turn 3? Yes, there will. Dark forcing him quite wide on the entry, but Roger still holding it. Dark will have the apex for turn 4 and puts Roger back down to P6. Epic.
Yeah, it was a beautiful side-by-side action for pretty much whole Sector 1, but it looks like Dark came out victorious, and he's now under pressure from Regichen ahead. Again, apologies. Who, however, decides to stay behind and try some slipstreaming overtake later. Let's see, he's really struggling into the air, and the gap is now too big in between him and Dark, so the opportunity for slipstreaming is lost, and he has to find the place to pass elsewhere.
Well, Dark needs to try and find a gap if he doesn't want to be held up or in any more fights with Roger Chen. As we've got Spider-Man and Finn UK, I think we're changing positions there or thereabouts, as Gabor is only just ahead of TJ still. I mean, I don't remember a Fox Friday race that we've covered in recent times where the gap has been this close for this long, Michael.
Yeah, Gabor is really struggling to get away from TJ, who really seems to know his stuff, despite coming late into the qualifying, so hard to tell how much practice he has done. But he's doing really well in keeping up with Gabor, and I think as soon as Gabor does some minor mistake, it will be a perfect opportunity for TJ to get ahead. So there's another 16 laps to go for Gabor to not mess up, and he might win this race.
Yeah, I mean, TJ is multiple-time Fox champion, or of course has a championship as well. These two aren't newcomers to the front of this grid, but they are not. They don't have too much experience of fighting wheel to wheel together. It sounds weird to say, but they're not. They don't tend to be together on track that often, which is very, very weird. But we're getting to witness it today, and we're going to see who in equal machinery is the better man on the day. And at the moment, it's Gabor by only just about half a second, as he stretches the gap up the start-finish straight, the part of the track where it's most powerful to have a slipstream, but the most difficult to get if you're evenly paced with your opponent through the final corner. And Rex also trying to bridge the gap to Zesty, Gabor's new teammate, fresh over from the MRC team. As we switch back to the battle we saw before, but in the other way round, it was Dark on the inside, Roger trying to go around the outside, and now it's role reversal, Michael.
Yeah, Roger Chan took the opportunity from the slipstream, but he ran out of space, and Dark managed to stay ahead. And these two are fighting hard. Onifus is slowly catching them. As in the background, it's three wide. With Ayub, Alpazon, and I believe Panteo. And it looks like there's contact, and only one car is into the wall, so I think that's a positive thing to say.
Well, yeah, I mean, with three cars going into turn 1 that close together, having only one car touch a barrier is normally a positive. But yeah, side by side through there, you have to give each other room, or else this happens, and Panteo has suffered as a result. Really much Abe could have done. He was already out on the outside. But it takes two to tango, Michael. And there we are. Abe also losing time to Alpayson, who would have probably enjoyed that, but might have been a bit clenched.
Yeah. As we are now having a battle between Red Fox and Hydine for P27. They're going side by side, and it looks like Hydine stays ahead. But Red Fox managed to make a beautiful switchback. He's now around the outside, and yeah, he gets the position back.
Pedro makes a move on Badrook at the final corner. Badrook trying to come back at him, but he's not going to have time. I don't think there's time left in on the home straight to get him. as we ride on board now with TJ into the hairpin and then down the hill through another double right-hander. There are lots of, well, 2 double right-handers on this lap. And does he have a slipstream? I think he does.
Yeah, he's getting ever so closer. Zigzagging from Gabor.
Defends, TJ trying to go around the outside, and that's going to line him up perfectly for the home straight. And we could have a change for the lead here. Let's see how Gabor chooses to play this. Will he go into the pit lane? Nope.
He faked the pit lane entry,
Dark
but
pits.
TJ didn't fall for it and manages to get ahead. And now has to defend from Gabor into the turn 1. Gabor is now in the dirty air. He might be able to get alongside on the outside, but it's not a favorable position and he has to slip behind. So it's now TJ back into the lead of the race in lap 12 of 25. And let's see if Gabor manages to create plan B.
Well, that is amazing. TJ on the day has the speed in reserve to catch and pass Gabor. And don't discount Rex. We've seen Rex in wheel-to-wheel fights with Gabor plenty of times over the last season of Fox Friday. And we might get it here again as TJ appears to be checking out. So really fascinating stuff here with a very, very, very tight lead battle. We don't get these very often, so let's enjoy it while we have it. Rex there as well. 3 teams represented. Great stuff.
Yeah, it's a wonderful 3-way battle for the lead. And so far it's TJ who gets the most of it, with Gabor trying to get back. And Rex from Fragmaster, who's slowly benefiting from these 2 ahead fighting. And it looks like Rex might be close enough to Gabor to try something, but no, the gap is growing, so not at this point.
Let's turn our focus elsewhere. We've got Gabri trying to line up the back of Pedro BR, but not the best exit out of there, and won't have a slipstream, unfortunately, on this time of asking. It's not a good enough exit, unfortunately. But I think the closest cars on track at the moment are these pair, Rex and Gabor, so let's keep an eye on this. The fight now for P2 for Sidus and Fragmaster. And you are tuning in to round 20 of the 2024 season of Fragmaster's Fox Friday and Live for Speed on Sim Broadcast. We are halfway through now. Race number 1 of 2 of this evening. The drivers have to make 1 pit stop around this 4.4 kilometre West Hill National Circuit during this race, and it's the top 15 reverse grid for race 2. So currently on the hot seat is Badaruk, but it's all going to change before the end because, well, most of the field still need to make that mandatory pit stop. And we are watching Rex for Fragmaster, who's chasing down Gabagur for the Sidus team.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Pete, who do you think will blink first and pit out of the leading trio?
I will let you know who that is as soon as I work out see the first car crossing start finish. Crossing pit entry. I couldn't guess. We've seen all sorts of strategies from these guys. You never know until the day. We are over halfway, so you'd assume they'll take it close to the end. It is only a sprint race. It's not the normal lengthy format that we get here. As Gabor is losing time now, 0.6 of a second to TJ. Look a bit further back, we've got a battle between Happy D and Finn UK. Happy D on the offensive, goes to the outside, and it should be an overtake before they get there. Yes, it is. Finn UK needs to not run into the back of him, and now loses all that time and won't be able to retaliate up the home straight. That's a shame.
Yeah, Finn UK has some minor damage on the left side of his car, so his drive might be compromised.
Yeah, while we're watching the onboard of Rex, need to mention that Roger Chen, Zesty and Olafus are pretty much as close as these guys. So there's still a fight on for P4 as well. Roger Chen currently in P4. with Zesty really closing in now. There he is, there's Zesty, has the fastest lap of the race as well, so momentum is definitely with him. And also close together, Dark and Adal further back. So lots and lots of close fights here. But perhaps more importantly, we've got back marker traffic for TJ. Who is that that he's got to come up against? It's Cabezon, who moves out of the way and is going to go off the circuit at turn 1.
That is very exemplary, getting out of the way.
Well, causing a yellow flag for the cars coming by is not necessarily the best way to do things, but here we are. There's Roger Chen. That's the gap I was talking about. Very, very close between P's P4, 5 and 6 as well in this race. It's almost a carbon copy of the top 3, except I think TJ is starting to stretch that gap a little bit.
That seems to be true. As this is now in the shooting distance to Roger Chan, as long as he's willing to brake very late. But I suspect he won't be doing that right now. But if he manages to stay close enough, he should be able to take advantage of the slipstream after this turn. His line seems to be pretty good, and I think he should be able to get close, but not before they run out of the straight, so that's not the opportunity for Zesty at this point.
No, you have to have such a good exit from that infield section onto these straights, and unfortunately the corners are just a little bit too tight. If you're following close, you lose a lot of the downforce following another car, so it's very, very, very difficult to get the run. You have to be significantly better on the exit than the car ahead of you, which is exactly what Ayoub's trying to do on Al Payson. The battle currently for P15 in the race between these two. They've got a bit of a gap to other cars around them, so let's see what happens there. As we switch to Connix, who is trying to make a move on his teammate, gets him on the... In fact, that looked pretty prescribed. Connix through on Adal, teammates. As TJ is now coming up behind Pantheo, this is a backmarker who will get out of the way and actually lets the top 3 through. As we see Happy D lining up Kig across start finish, and this is another MRC on MRC, Michael.
Yeah, a lot of battles between my teammates, but so far we managed to not take out each other of the race, so that is good, as it looks like Rocket was timing out, but he's back, so that's not him going into the DNFs.
Yeah, Ayoub is super close to the back of Al Payson now. Al feeling as though he has to go defensive on the infield. Now, you can lose quite a bit of time going defensive there. That might have been an accident. As we've got Onifus in the pit lane, the first of our top 10, I think, to blink. So Onifus there with the pit indicator next to his name. He is stationary in the pit lane. And has Ayoub got a good enough exit? No, not again. As Onifus makes his way up towards pit exit and rejoins in comfortable P9 as Ayoub is on a run.
But he runs wide and is now back behind Alpayson, but he should be able to retain the draft as the car ahead Badruk pits. Ayoub is now again side by side with Alpayson. Meanwhile, Doctor has spun in turn 2, and Ayoub is now going defensive from Alpayson, who should be able to get closer before they reach turn 2, but looks like he decided to not to do so. And it looks like it's now set in stone that Ayoub is ahead of Alpayson for the time being in P14. But if the race ends like this, then Alpayson would be on the pole position for the race number 2, so there's still something to play for in the end.
Yeah, I think he would be quite happy with that, but still pit stops to be made by some drivers as we watch from this awesome overhead shot as the drivers pass underneath. But yeah, Ayoub stretching that gap, comfortable at the moment as TJ shoots through turn 1, 7 tenths ahead of Gabagur. with Rex in P3 now. And, looks like we've got a fight on between Roger Chen and Zesty. They were close coming into turn 1. And, Roger's still hanging on there by the skin of his teeth. And I can't believe this is the fight for P4. They're not even fighting for the podium. And there's a 6-second gap between them and the race leader. So this is epic stuff.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Hepedy managed to get ahead of Kurko on the back straight. And let's see if he is able to retain that position. Yes, he is. Kurko is currently very struggling with the grip, so he's unable to get back to Hepedy, who's in P17 now.
Yeah, Rex is going to get a handy slipstream here off of Perry D01, one of the back markers that's going to let him through. Gabba touched the grass on the exit of the previous corner, so loses more time to TJ. As we've got Badaruk and GSK side by side through turn 1 and into turn 2. It's Badaruk in the lead. As our race leaders start lap 19 of 25 in race number 1. And there is still everything to play for. The pit stop is what we're all looking forward to now, Michael. And it looks like they're going to try and take it quite close to the end. Gabba might be thinking, well, at certain points in the lap, he might be getting closer to TJ. He might think, well, actually, I might be losing a little bit more time here than I would be if I was lapping on my own. So he might consider in this position an early pit stop, but it's always a risk because you don't know who you're going to come out around. There'll be other drivers who he might come out around who could slow him down potentially. So it's always a risk going into the pit lane early. As we've got some traffic for Roger Chen, and that's going to make it difficult for him. That's Gabri for the Sin team, who doesn't make it particularly easy, but does move away in the end. And now Zesty will want this position, Michael.
Absolutely. Let's see if he manages to stay
It's a
close
good
enough.
exit.
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity now. And he decides to stay behind for some reason. Maybe he wants to make that passing opportunity onto the main straight instead. So he's not vulnerable straight after that.
Oh, but he's messed up the turn-in. Definitely messed up the turn-in. You could hear the tyre squeal as he went over the apexes and points his car firmly into pit lane. So there we go. Strategy revealed. Into pit lane on the brakes. Just gets it down to 80 kilometers an hour, 50 miles an hour, and then a very quick stop. The drivers do not have to do any work in their pit stop. They just have to stop and go. And, well, that looked about as nice as it could have been. Where does Zesty rejoin? Does he join in traffic or on his own?
He should end up in the gap.
Be on... Well, actually, that's Master going through. So Master is through, Dark is behind.
Zesty is currently in P7, and let's see where he will be once everyone else has stopped, as we are now switching to Red Fox, who's in a direct fight with Badruk. We're side by side, Red Fox around the outside. Both going very late into the brakes, but looks like Red Fox manages to keep that position. As meanwhile, his teammate PD managed to get past Rocket and is now in P16. Goes a little defensive, but should be able to stay ahead, as now we switch to Roger Chen, who's battling a back marker.
Yeah, gets past Perry D. I remember that...
almost rear-ended. Yeah.
That was close.
It was close.
Zesty pitted on the previous lap, so if Roger Chen gained a little bit from the slipstream there, that would have been beneficial. But Roger Chen is now in completely clean air, so too is Zesty. So these two are going to be... It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out when Roger Chen does his pit lane, as Gabor steals the fastest lap away from Zesty on the lap just gone. So showing TJ that he's still got the single lap pace, but the gap is still under a second. I don't think the gap's been over a second since at any point in the race, in fact. So this has been an incredibly closely fought competition so far. As we watch our top three, only separated by 2 seconds currently. try to wind down this race. 4 laps to go after this one.
Yeah, they have been all pretty even on the pace for the first 20 laps of this race, and I think the late pit stops can really be the deciding factor. I think all of them could go for the very latest opportunity to pit. So let's see how it goes, as we are able to watch also Gabor's on board from his stream. So if you want, you can watch Sidus Gabor Twitch. But stick with us, because we provide great camera angles for our whole field, not just one particular car.
Yeah, good for side-by-side action. And speaking of side-by-side action, we've got Badaruk versus Kirku 87, and Kirku on the outside in that Paris 2024 Olympic livery through, or rather defending the place, I think, in that instance. As we've got Pedro BR, unfortunately, having a bit of a spin, and that's Abe that's going to get through. Oh, and another car off as well. That's Sal Payson, who's gone off in sympathy by the looks of it. Completely unforced error. Oh, and that was Happy D who had to go around the back of him. And so Al Payson and Ayub losing a ton of time. Sorry, not Ayub. That was Pedro BR losing a ton of time and losing out on places.
Yeah, it was very close for comfort, but luckily no real harm was done, so we are able to continue.
Yeah, Badaruk not able to get a good exit necessary to get through and back up to Kirku 87, and now sees blue flags, and that will be for the race leaders, because TJ is looming large in his mirrors, and these guys do not want to be disturbed. This is an intense lead battle that has stayed basically the same since the lights went green, and TJ, after losing the lead initially up into turn 1, has regained it and is trying to get that gap over a second. 9/10 currently, and as we go over start finish, the gap is back down a little bit, so Gabor is not easing up. These guys, they're going to have to settle it in the pit lane. It's all going to come down to the pit stop, Michael, and how close they end up at the exit.
Yeah, and we are only 3 laps to go, so it's only at the end of this lap or the next lap where they have the opportunity to make the mandatory pit stop. So let's see when they decide to do it. As meanwhile, in the pit lane is Master with 1.2 seconds stop with no pit work whatsoever. So yeah, just doing the mandatory stop for the sake of doing so. As now TJ is catching up a back marker, which is Kirku 87, who makes the way. And let's see if he's not the hindrance to other 2 drivers as well. Looks like they all got through very cleanly.
Yeah.
And let's focus on these 3 and see if any of them can make the mandatory pit stop this lap.
Yeah, we're watching 3 drivers who are at the top of their game, and we see this week in, week out, that they are putting in performances that are absolutely worthy of a championship. Rex, the only driver in the top 3 who is yet to score a win in the championship, as in taking the overall title, as Gabor is the first to blink, and super close on the pit entry, pushing it to the very limit, stops and is off on his way again. And well, he was the first to blink, Michael, which means that TJ and Rex are going to do it on the next lap. And where are they going to end up in relation to him? Fascinating stuff. Roger also in.
I think the gaps are big enough for them to stay in the similar order, but seeing how close to getting penalty Gabor was when entering the pit lane, I think we might see one of them messing up and ruining the race.
But this is interesting. We're watching Mandula, who's yet to stop, and I really thought that he might decide to cause a bit of grief to Gabor. He's perfectly entitled to go for a move, but I thought he was going to be close and maybe go for a move somewhere. But Gabor's been lucky. He risked it by coming in a lap before the end. And, well, on this occasion, Mandula just not close enough to be tempted to go for any sort of move. But now Gabor's in trouble. He's got more back markers to potentially get through. And these are the quicker ones. He's coming up behind, who is that? That's Sin Gabri. And that's not a good place to meet a car. He's going to want to get that car out of the way. It's uncomfortable. Just about moves out of the way. Hopefully there was no lifting, as TJ will be angling his car out the pit lane. Needs to be super, super careful to not get that car a penalty. Not as aggressive on pit entry. So unless Gabor's lost some time on that lap, Rex in straight behind as well, we should see TJ emerging just ahead. But Gabor will be up to full speed. He's through the back markers, but an uncomfortable outlap for Gabor as they all come over start finish. TJ is out and he's out ahead, but what's the overspeed? Gabor is going to end up in a fight with... No, he's not in a fight with Rex, but it's not as close as it could have been. And P2 with a back marker in between TJ and Gabor. So the dream for TJ there.
Yeah, it's a few Racket who's in between the leading TJ and Gabor, so it's safe to say that he wouldn't cause much trouble for Gabor, and yeah, he just moves away. And it's only 0.8 of a second in between TJ and Gabor, but since we are towards the second half of the last lap, Gabor is running out of opportunities to get ahead of TJ, so it's very likely that TJ would win this race. And we'll have to start from P15 in the next one.
Yeah, look who's on the bubble. It's Al Payson still down there in P15, who might end up in the pole position seat, but onto the back straight comes TJ. He's done just enough to keep that car in the lead. He lost the lead initially, but then got it back through a hard fight with Gabor. These top three have been absolutely glued together. The gap only opened up after the drivers pitted on different laps. But out of the final corner comes Road Appraiser TJ. Michael, take him to the line.
Yeah, TJ is out of the final corner, and in a few seconds he will cross the start-finish line, marking his another victory and extending his lead in this Fox Friday Fragmasters Championship, with Gabor only 0.8 of a second behind, Rex in P3, Zesty 4th, Roger Chen 5th, Dark 6th, then it's Ohnifus in P7, and 8 to cross the line is Mandula. We are now waiting for Master to finish 9th right now, and the top 10 should be finished with Master Race Cars Konix.
Dark got the fastest lap on the final lap there. Dark stealing the fastest lap away from Sidus. As Adal comes off across the line in P11, followed by Doctor for Road Appraiser, Happy D in P13. But what a race from our top three. That was absolutely fantastic stuff. TJ had to really work for that. Gabor threw everything at him and got past in exactly the position he needed to. And then TJ had to fight his way back through and did it to perfection. I mean, what a race. Look at the gap between the top three, 2.6 seconds. Incredible.
Yeah, beautiful result after 25 laps of fantastic racing. And I think the following race in a few minutes will be even more hectic in that sense, as the top 15 drivers are reversed. So the fastest guys will have to start from the midfield.
Yeah, and it's Finn UK. Finn UK in the end who gets P15. He's on camera now, and will start in pole position alongside his teammate Al Payson.
Yeah, he somehow managed to get ahead of Ayub on the last lap. So that's a worthy pole position for him in a few minutes.
Well, we need to run down the full race order, and then we will set the grid for race 2 and do it all again, but with a top 15 reversed grid, which we absolutely love here on the channel. TJ wins in 37 minutes 55 seconds. Doesn't get the fastest lap. That was taken away by his teammate Dark, a 1:29.5. Absolutely rapid pace from him. So yeah, after nearly 40 minutes of racing, we see that TJ was only in the lead by 0.8 of a second, and it was pretty much that close since the very beginning as well. Rex just not there today, but still walks away with some silverware in P3. Zesty, best of the rest, held fastest lap for a few times during the race, but just was not on the pace today to try and mix it with the top three. 7 seconds off the lead. Then we had Roger Chen, significant battles with him throughout the race, finishes a very respectable P5. Dark, as I mentioned, got the fastest lap, finishes in P6. Onifus, Mandula, Master and Connix, solid drives from everybody there in the top 10, with Adal, Doctor, Happy D, Al Payson, Finn UK, Abe, Pedro, Johnny SVK, Red Fox and Kig finishing and rounding out your top 20. And yeah, there in P15, it's Finn UK who will take the pole position for race number 2, Michael.
Yeah, and I just made an interesting observation. It looks like the mandatory pit stop wasn't physically enforced, and it looks like a few Rocket actually did not pit in this race. So I wonder how that will be taken into consideration.
Probably, well, in the first instance, we just assume it's a disqualification, I guess.
Well, I don't know what the rules for this particular championship are, but I would assume so.
Yeah, I mean, it's enforced. There's probably a penalty for it. We don't normally have it as an issue because normally it's enforced. So there we go. Probably a straight DQ for Rocket, unfortunately. But yeah, as attention shifts to the second race this evening, the grid is being formed up, and it is going to be Finn UK on the pole position. I wonder how he's feeling. Some of these drivers do not enjoy necessarily having that pole position responsibility. But some drivers love the chance to start at the front and try to, defend from the drivers behind, Michael. It's a unique challenge if you're not used to it.
Absolutely, this could be a very extraordinary pressure for Finn UK and Alpezon, as I think they can work together and be some sort of moving chicane, keeping guys behind for as long as they can. Especially since the next 3 drivers are all Master Race Car drivers, Happy D, Adal and Connix, ready to take the lead of the race early. So it will be very interesting to see how each of them gets off the line and whether either of the Master Race Car drivers will be leading the race after the first lap. I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, that was an absolutely fantastic race for the first of 2 that we've got this evening. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen in race 2. Having the top 3 that close together for so long, 40 minutes, and they were separated by 2 seconds. That is, you have to keep repeating it because that is really, really quite something. The grid is now being formed. Seems as though we are getting the cars back in some sort of order. So we should remind the viewers about what's going to happen here. We're going to do it all again, 25 laps, and we are currently setting up a top 15 reverse grid, and that grid consists of Finn UK alongside Al Payson, Happy D alongside Adal. Row 3 is Connix and Master. Row 4 is Mandula and Onifus. Then it's Dark, Roger Chen, Zesty, Rex, Gabba, and TJ, race winner from race 1, starting down in P15. Ayub was the unlucky driver there. He will start P16. He could have been on pole had he managed to get the place on Finn UK. He got overtaken on the line, Michael.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for him unless he deliberately slowed down. I didn't see that maneuver, so we can only assume. But yeah, he was that close to being first at the start of this race, but it's just racing, so let's see how it goes for him, as he's now starting next to TJ. So that will be a very interesting experience to start against the race winner and series champion and current leader.
Absolutely. And while the drivers are finally readying up, we're going to drop a little bit of an advertisement for what's going on Sunday on our channel. It's the 400 kilometers of West Hill.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5th edition of the 400 kilometers of West Hill.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Car 25 is out of the way.
And here we go. We are about to start the race number 2 with Finuke in pole position, Alpazon in P2. Then it's Happy Doctor managed to get into the P4. In the meantime, it's Adel and Konix all from Master Race Car. And we have now all red lights on, and we are going green in just a moment now. And let's see who gets away the best. It looks like
Happy D.
Yeah, looks like Happy D is not able to get ahead of Alpazon, so these two might be able to keep everyone at the back. As Happy D is now under pressure from Road Presa Doctor, and then it's Master getting alongside with Adal. So far, everyone managed to stay clean on the one car leaving the track bounce. As Master is now final ahead of Adal, and there's on a full spinning, and there's big pile up.
Yeah, Gabor's off the track.
It's Gabor,
he's going to spin. Yeah, so he's going to drop all the way down the order. Got collected by that spinning car. Completely not his fault. TJ, he's managed to avoid everything. He's up to P12 immediately in a fight with Onifus, so it's all going off. But we've lost Gabor. He's down to the back. And that's going to be a really, really long drive during this race. But it's not over, of course. 40 minutes of racing, anything can happen. It's the reverse grid race, so we always get this sort of chaos as we've got Master and Adal in a fight as we go on to the back straight for the first time, Michael.
Yeah, and at the front, Happy is now alongside Alpazon, and Doctor is as well, so they're almost 3 wide. So Doctor decided to stay behind. And it's now Finuke leading with Happy D second, and Doctor is now alongside Alpazon for P3. Tries to go around the outside. And it's 3 wide with Mandula, Master, and who is there?
Master Pitts.
Yeah, he's in the pit.
And so does Roger Chen. Roger Chen's gone in as well. Finuke leads this race ahead of Happy D. Alpazon then just having to defend a little bit from Doctor, but Doctor gets through. Gabor's in the pit lane. He's decided to go early.
Mandula is in the wall at the back.
Oh, that's a shame. So was he pushed? I mean, he looks to be pretty frustrated by that. He's stationary, so I wonder. Yeah, he's going to be upset about that.
He's still in the place, and he's now spectated. As we are now switching to Finuke going defensive from Happy D and Doctor. They are really close to each other, nearly bumping each other into the braking zone. Happy D tries to go around the outside, and that leaves him vulnerable from Road Presa Doctor, who's alongside him. Let's see what overtaking opportunity will be on this back straight, as Doctor is way too close to Happy D, but so is to Finuke. So
yeah,
we
this
might
could be
go
3 wide. Well, not quite. I think actually Happy D's got a better run, so Doctor's been left a little bit. Happy D going around the outside. Does he have the overlap? Just about. This is the same as it was on lap 1, and there we go. It is Happy D into the lead of the race, but will Finuke be close enough for a slipstream? No, he will not, and drives Doctor to the inside of the track, who has a slipstream now on the Fragmaster driver, moves to the inside for turn 1. As Alpazon pits in the background from P2 at the beginning. Zesty also in a battle with Konix. Here for P7. Brew.
Battles is happening everywhere. As now Doctor is under pressure from Finuke, but manages to create a little gap. So it's now MRC Happy D leading over to Prisa's Doctor, then it's Finuke, Adal, and in P5 it's Ayub. As Finuke breaks really late, almost collects Doctor, but manages to keep it in between the white lines. As Hachiroku goes over the grass, and he just spectated, so that's out of the race for him.
That could have been much worse. But yeah, it looks like Zesty's had the best start other than TJ, so Zesty's made up more places than pretty much anybody off the start, it looks like, and is right behind TJ. But in the way of TJ at the moment is this fight. We've got Ayub with Adal, and Finuke is now going to have a massive train behind him as we go up to turn the final corner.
Yeah, and Adal first to make a pass as he gets over Finuke. Now TJ alongside Ayub on the inside, and Finuke breaks late and collects Adal, and it's
3 wide.
Yeah, 3 wide contact. Ayub and Adal are absolutely.
You can't do that and leave no room for each other. It's just going to end in disaster. And Adal and Abe learn the hard way. Going 3 wide through the final corner is just not a good idea. There wasn't really much they could have done. Finn UK went super late on the brakes. Now in a fight with TJ up towards turn 1. TJ is not through. There's contact. Oh my goodness me. And TJ loses a bunch of time to Zesty, who has the fastest lap. Michael, it's all going off. This is fantastic stuff.
Yes, so much chaos is happening and so many unforced collisions with how the
Finn UK is
reverse
racing here.
Yeah. Finn UK is now in P3 ahead of TJ. He makes a mistake, so that allows TJ for easy overtaking opportunity. Let's see if Zesty capitalizes on that. He's around the outside of Finn UK, and he seems to be ahead at this point, but we know that Finn UK is likely to brake late, not on this occasion, so it's safe to say that TJ is now already on the last podium step with Zesty right behind him, so these two are most likely to win this race as it stands now. But first they have to catch Doctor and, more importantly, Happy D, who's leading this race, as we have only 21 laps to go and everyone has a mandatory pit stop to get done.
Pretty much, as we switch to Johnny SVK on the outside of Pantheo into the final corner with a switchback from Kig looking at like 3 wide again. Oh no, we've been here before. The driver's really trying to put our blood pressure up a little bit here, Michael.
Yeah, they're really asking for troubles, but I love to see some beautiful 3 wides as we are now observing Ayub attacking who's that with him. It's Mozart, who's in a pretty good position, but has to leave the place. And this is now Pantheo now switching back to Ayub. So yeah, so much action happening that the race director doesn't know who to focus on.
Yeah, my bad. As we've got Mozart actually off onto the grass there, losing the car. Just so many side-by-side action. So much side-by-side action. It's impossible to make a cohesive story by the looks of it. But it's there's currently a 26.5-second gap between Gabor and our race leaders, and TJ and Zesty up to P3 already, pretty much. As Ayub is still trying to get around Kig and moves to the inside, and this should be a textbook pass. There we go.
Yeah, that was a very clean pass, and let's see what the overtaking opportunity will be after this turn, as he's leaving a lot of room on the inside and will offer some slipstreaming to the car behind. But the gap is currently growing, so it doesn't seem like he will be under pressure at this particular straight, at least. As now Johnny is getting ever so closer to the car ahead, which should be Pantheo, and he's very close, and it looks like he will have a perfect opportunity now. Let's see how quickly he manages to get alongside. There he goes, and he will be on the inside of the next turn unless he's ahead by the time he gets into the zone. There he is. And let's see if Pantheo manages to come up with something into the turn 2, which is the last opportunity before he will have to slot behind. He tries to go around the outside, but decides to not to do so. He might be vulnerable to Ayub, who's right behind him. But in this...
was that contact? I don't know what happened there. I think Pantheo spooked him on the brakes, but they've all bunched up now. Ayub tucked in behind. And yeah, he'll definitely have an opportunity here now, Michael.
Yeah, that was very close, and Ayub is right on the tail of Pantheo, and he's sticking his nose on the inside. Will he brake later than Pantheo? They brake around the same, but he has the favorable position for that turn and manages to get ahead. And now Kik is also getting close to Pantheo and has perfect line, so instead of Pantheo having opportunity to get back, he's not under pressure from Kik, who's getting alongside. He will be on the outside of the next turn, but he may be ahead. Yeah, he's already ahead before we get into the braking zone, and we are switching to TJ, who's getting move on Zesty. It's TJ onto the inside of the next turn, Zesty around the outside in that beautiful yellow and purple livery. And
yeah,
let's see
great move from TJ there up into P3, and that's important because he now needs to start to open that gap up. He will be aware that that Gabor is, well, still in this race, potentially. It would be an absolute miracle if he manages to be back in some sort of podium position, but you never know.
Absolutely, and speaking of being back, Panteo got back ahead of Kig, who ran white in turn 2. So he's now in P11. As Bedrock has spun in the first sector, I believe. Yeah, there he is. Now finally facing the correct direction and getting back into the racing speed. Luckily, he didn't collect anyone, as Gabor is about to make a move on Alpezon. Let's see how it looks from Gabor's point of view. They are side by side, but there's an interesting switch in between views in the Gabor's stream, but it seems to be beneficial as he has more intel about the environment around him, and that helps him to get ahead. And there was somebody spinning ahead.
Yeah, Mozart and Heidine both off in the wall, as we saw from two angles there, that incident unfold.
Yeah, and Mozart has spectated. Yes, now Gabor is right on the tail of Rocket, and we are watching Spider-Man getting really close to Master Race Car's Red Fox.
Well, Rocket is going to be the next victim of Gabor. In fact, I think it's already over. Gabor on the outside and is through into turn 1, so making quick work of that. And he needs to carve through the field as quickly as possible. Speaking of carving through, Happy D has found himself in the lead of the race with a 1 second gap over the first of 2 Road Appraiser drivers. But the story really is that TJ has managed to get from P15 to P3 in this race and is looking pretty much set for another podium.
Yeah, it's definitely a podium, but will it be a win? Because it looks like he currently doesn't have that much pace over his teammate Doctor and Happy D. As it looks like at the back of the grid, Kurko and Ayub are battling it out onto the back straight. Let's see where Ayub decides to go by. Would be inside or outside. It's inside of the next turn. He gets alongside into the braking zone. They brake at similar point, and looks like he is ahead as for now, but will be under big pressure as Kurko is now in his slipstream and will definitely try to capitalize into turn 1. Yeah, but it looks like Kurko is lifting for some reason. Maybe he doesn't want to fight him, as he may figure out that the 2 are fighting, the third one is laughing. And it might be beneficial for him to just stay behind and keep the similar pace.
Badaruk and Perry D side by side over start finish. Badaruk looking to get the slipstream. Perry D defending to the inside, but now they're going to be side by side through turn 1. We've seen this movie before. Hopefully they can get through together. Well, still overlap, and fair play to them. They're through, and Badaruk takes over P23.
Yeah, that was a beautiful move, and luckily neither of them got any damage from that, as we've seen in the opening laps. Gabor is about to get really close to Master. Let's see how quickly he can get ahead. He brakes very light, he's right on his tail, and he should be able to capitalize on him on the back straight. So it's just a matter of correct setup onto the straight. Yeah, he's right behind him, and it's a matter of a few seconds before he gets alongside. Goes to the right side, which will be outside of next turn, but it won't matter because he should be ahead of him before they even get into the braking zone. There he is. As Johnny and Panteo are now in a battle onto the start finish line, and it looks like Kick is in the equation as well, and Johnny is into the pit lane. It was a very close situation.
Ooh. Yeah, just a bit. While there's a slipstream battle going on, that was crazy. Panteo and Kig into turn 1. It's Kig who has the advantage at the moment. Pantheo's still right there, and we've seen, especially in this race, that the Fragmaster drivers are not afraid of getting their elbows out, are they, Michael? They really want to get a slice of this. Oh, he's off the track. Oh, and he's going to spin and take out Roger Chen. Oh, it's just unnecessary.
That was very unfortunate.
Yeah. Roger just could not avoid that. I'm not sure. Pantheo just kept his foot in it while he was on the grass. Maybe he didn't realise there was another car there, but anyway, unfortunate for Pantheo and definitely unfortunate for Roger Chen, who was on a good run at that point.
Yeah, it was a really bad luck in this particular occasion, but it looks like his car isn't heavily damaged, so other than losing some time in this particular part of the race, he should be able to keep going at the pace he had so far.
As we catch the tail end of the battle with Johnny SVK and Onifus, he's through. Onifus through, that is. And well, it looks like Pantheo's now trying to get back through on Rocket as well. It's all going off. We're not allowed a chance to breathe this evening. This has been pretty intense battling for the last... How long have we been on air? We've been on air for an hour and a half at this point. So super stuff this evening from the Fragmasters Fox Friday series. The longest running weekly championship in Need for Speed, and well, it continues to deliver. It's a formula that just works, Michael. It just works. Rex spins, he's off in the wall. He was in last place already, and that just adds to his woes, and he's out. He's retired.
Yeah, there you go. So meanwhile Patio makes the mandatory pit stop with 1.2 seconds. That equals to no pit work done whatsoever. Just so does everyone else. And so looking at the front of the grid, it looks like Happy D is slowly getting into the jaws of Doctor and TJ, as the top three are separated by 1 second.
Same as race 1, I guess, yeah. In fact, the top 4 are separated by less than the top 4 were last time. So super close stuff from the field in race 2. Great to see, absolutely epic. And it's Happy D who's been leading for quite a while, but as you said, I think the timer is counting down.
Yeah, we are about to cross the halfway through the race. Happy D is still in the lead, but it looks like he won't last for very long, as 3 very strong drivers, Dr. TJ and Zesty, are right behind him and they are ready to capitalize. So let's see for how many more laps Happy D is able to keep the lead.
Yeah, and Zesty's motoring. He's got the fastest lap of the race still under his belt, and knows, well, he has all of his targets clearly within his sight, both of the Road Appraiser drivers and his old teammate Happy D, waiting to be swallowed up by him at some point, hopefully, in this race. That's what he's thinking. As we've got Hydine fighting with Spider-Man, who goes into the pit lane in a puff of smoke, as it turns out. Pedro on Finn UK on the infield here, Michael. Pedro trying to get through into P6.
Yeah, this is a beautiful side-by-side battle between Pedro and Finn UK. Pedro around the outside, but there was little contact, but it was all good enough, as Finn UK is now on the outside of the next turn.
Oh,
contact,
Finn UK!
Huge contact. It was a payback.
I guess so. I was going to say, I mean, well, Pedro also looks like he's waiting for him almost. As is that Gabor going through? It is. Gabor making up a lot of places for free there, but Finn UK either not aware of his mirrors or just in a super racy mood this afternoon.
Yeah, it was a very unfortunate moment for Finn UK, as he got pretty much a Hamilton move from Pedro.
Okay. Who's that at the final corner?
I have no idea.
Carfryer off on the outside of the final corner again, and it's Kirku now going side by side. As who's that going in the pit lane? That's Finn UK going in the pit lane for his mandatory stop. Kirku then on the outside and trying to get through on Kig, and there's going to be contact. Every single time. Every single time 2 cars go side by side. Actually, you say that, we have seen plenty of side by side drama action which hasn't turned into drama, as we switch to Gabor, who is going to have seen that and think, oh crikey, how am I going to get through these guys?
This is very intense, and the top 4 are still around 1 second from each other, so still not being able to make any pass whatsoever, but they are getting closer and closer. And as we are watching Gabor now making a move on that kick, who goes very wide in that turn, and so it's behind Gabor, who's now attacking Kirko 87, I believe. And yeah, it's probably a bit too close. Yeah, I can't see much over those trees, but it looked like Kirko made a mistake. Doctor is now side by side with DJ and slots behind. As meanwhile, Zesty has pitted first from the leading four drivers who decided to pit. And let's see where he manages to leave. He should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should be good enough.
Yeah,
so
with Wave's going to go around the outside. He's done him, so there we go.
Yeah, luckily for him, he didn't fall into some major traffic on the track, so he should
Abe
be
hasn't
alright.
stopped yet, so it doesn't really matter. Zesty will surely be able to catch and pass Ayub at this point with his pace advantage. But Ayub yet to stop in this one, as we have TJ right behind Happy D for the first time in the race. And TJ trying to make it 2 from 2 here today to extend his championship lead by the maximum he could have hoped for. Just needs to make this pass and keep the lead for the final half of the race.
Yeah, and he's already gaining in the slipstream. Will he get onto the inside? Also, it's inside of the next turn. He breaks later, so it's safe to assume that Happy D will try to make a switch back. He's close enough. Yeah, so there will be another drafting battle. As TJ is now zigzagging, trying to break the toe. Happy D goes around the outside. And let's see who will come victorious from the first turn. Happy D is slightly ahead, but
not again.
Not the preferred side. No contact, still no contact. Happy D on the inside of the turn 2 now.
Fair play,
And
fair play.
keeps the lead. Beautiful
Fair play
fight.
to Happy D. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. Elbows out, get the place back. Why not? On TJ. Brilliant stuff. And you know what? This plays into Gabor's hands. He's still in this race if this continues.
Yeah, and it also plays into the hands of Doctor, who just managed to get right into the leading battle. So we might even get a 3 wide if there's the opportunity for Doctor to get alongside TJ and Happy D.
That was absolutely brilliant from Happy D. Being overtaken by TJ, a guy who's got multiple Fox championships, won the first race, has come from 15th place up to steal away your first place in the race you're currently driving in, and you go for the move into turn 1 and steal it back and keep your race hopes alive. Fantastic from Happy D. Perfect wheel-to-wheel driving, respectful from both drivers, and now we've got a proper 3-way fight on our hands.
It looks like a copy of the previous lap, as TJ now is more clever and hits the rear of Happy D, and that allows Doctor to get through, and he should be able to get stuff from Happy D. Yeah, it's a triple toe. And,
TJ pits.
TJ decides that he's losing too much time. So Doctor is now alongside Happy D, and he might be able to retain the lead after the first turn.
Oh, this is brilliant stuff. Let's see if Happy D can return the favour again. No reason why he shouldn't be able to. We saw him do it once. Is he going to try and do it again? Yes, he is. Brilliant to the inside. There's contact, and it's all over for both of them. A little bit overzealous. I don't blame him for going to the move. It just didn't work out, and he's wiped Doctor out completely.
This has just passed TJ, who left the pit lane, and so did Ayub.
It's all going off. This is why we love race 2. Happy D, unfortunately, stuck in the gravel. Terrible way to go out of the race. Doctor not happy about it, and justifiably so. TJ's just got past Doctor as well, so there you are. Doctor not even pitted yet, I don't think. And that's the way it goes sometimes. Happy D will not be pleased with himself for taking Doctor out of the race there, and himself.
Definitely, but it allows his former teammate to lead the race, as now in P2 Ayub is under pressure from TJ. Little contact, but no major damage done to either of them. And TJ is really hungry for that position. He's right on the tail of Ayub. Not much opportunity to take advantage of the toe.
Well, importantly, TJ came out of the pit lane way ahead of Gabor, so he can afford to lose a little bit more time. But now it's Zesty in the lead, who he knows has the pace to win, and Ayub is really going to be winding him up here. but nothing to do. Ayub is perfectly entitled to carry on his race in the position he is, and doesn't let to go into the pit lane. And Zesty looks to be in the driving seat of this race.
Yeah, this is a perfect scenario for Zesty, as he's whole 2 seconds ahead of the duo of Ayub and TJ. As TJ is now apparently finally ahead of Ayub, who decides to stay behind. As we are now watching Roger Chen making a move on who's that? That's Master. Yeah. So it's P7 for Roger Chen, and Konix ahead of him. So is Gabor.
Yeah, Gabor just got past Konix over start finish, so he's up to P5 with the pit stop under his belt. So incredible work from Gabor to go from the back of the grid to only being 6.5 seconds off the lead. That is the caliber of driver that he is, and let's see how much more time he can gain on our race leaders, because they're all going to end up fighting. It's going to happen. TJ's got the pace at the moment. Yeah,
considering the terrible look Gabor had at the start of this race, I think the fact he's less than 5 seconds behind Zesty and in top 5 in general, it's real impressive. And
well, he's going to get a podium. He's going to get a podium, and that is incredible enough, because Doctor is yet to stop because he was taken out by Happy D, and Ayub is up here as well without a pit stop under his belt. So Gabor has managed to salvage. If he manages to finish the race, he's managed to salvage at least a podium from this race, which is astounding, really.
That's true. So it's really impressive, and yeah, let's see how it goes. Maybe if another few drivers manage to take themselves out, he may even win this race. But I don't want to jinx it. We had already enough of violent collisions here, as Gabor now proves himself and sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, he's on an absolute mission here. Look at that, 6.5 seconds. The gap, we're going to keep an eye on it, because we've got just under 10 laps to go in this race, and plenty still to happen, as we've got Dark and Johnny SVK in a fight. And, Dark running a different livery this race, confusing me somewhat. Same livery as Roger Chen. He was running a lovely red Road Appraiser livery in the previous race, so that confused me for a minute, but it is Dark, and he's through on Johnny SVK.
Yeah, it's a great way to confuse the enemies, but it doesn't make him any much faster, so it's on a cosmetic trait, as he's now ahead of Johnny SVK, and he might be able to get to Doctor, who might have just pitted. I might have missed that.
Yeah, a couple of laps ago, I think last lap he pitted and moved out of the top 5 and rejoins down in P12. Oh, he's not going to be happy with that. He was in contention for a podium until the shenanigans with the MRC car. But anyway, as we head on to lap 19 of 25, it's Zesty leading from Road Appraiser TJ. Then it's Abe, who's yet to stop. And surprise, surprise, Gabber has made himself, has worked his way back through the field and will be in P3 when Ayub goes into the pit lane. Konix was a victim of Gabor last lap, down in P5 now. And Roger Chen, consistent as ever, Michael, currently sits P6.
Yeah, the race order is now a little bit stabilized, finally, because I think
I'm slightly relieved, I'll be honest.
Running out of breath.
Yeah.
Breath. Yes.
Pantheo is making a move on Spider-Man. In fact, that looked quite easy. He's through before the bridge, as we have Badaruk in the pit lane, serving his mandatory stop and go, which all the drivers have to do in both races, of course. Adds a little bit of extra uncertainty, I think is fair to say, in these races. It's not a functional pit stop. You just have to stop and go. You can do some work to the car, but not really necessary. Some drivers putting a little bit of fuel in, but that's mainly what we see. That's mainly all that we see in those pit stops, as Doctor will be hoping to salvage another couple of positions. And, well, I think his only real opportunities are Onifus and Kig. I think everybody else is just a little bit too far out of reach at this stage.
Yeah, he's getting pretty close to Onifus, so it's only a matter of time before he gets into the striking distance, but so far he's not right there yet. It might take a lap or two before he gets there, but we are switching to Red Fox, who should be right behind Reddy, I believe. And he's not close enough to take the advantage of the toe, but he might be there at the main start-finish straight if he manages to get a good line through this final turn. As the guy ahead makes a mistake and he's now in perfect opportunity, so let's stick with them and see how well Red Fox does. Pepperly does some zigzagging to break the toe, but that doesn't stop Red Fox from getting alongside. He will be around the outside of first turn, but
Oh no.
he
Oh, it's
should do it safely. And as long as something terrible does not happen, he should stay ahead. So he does. He overtakes Purdy, who drops to P19.
News from the front of the race. Zesty is holding a 2.3 second gap over TJ, and it's not going anywhere. And the lap's running out. We've now got 5 laps to go as soon as Zesty crosses the line. And that is around about, well, just under half a second a lap that TJ needs to gain on the Sidus car, and I just don't think that's realistic. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not quite sure how, but Gabor's in the chat. He's driving in P4. It's about to become P3, and he's in the chat. This man is crazy.
Is he?
Yeah. Gabor, focus.
That's called multitasking.
I'm going to put his onboard on. Anyway, we'll see how he fares, but we're just waiting for Ayub to pit, and then you can have your podium, so be patient. Unbelievable. The things you see. Anyway, Pedro in the pit lane for his stop, and out again.
Somebody has spun ahead of TJ, but he managed to avoid him.
Yeah, who is that?
That somebody was Carfryer.
It's Carfryer, yeah. Just needs to be careful bringing that car around, out of the way of everybody else, as Rocket pits and makes his way again. And yes, we're just waiting to see when Ayub is going to come into the pit lane. I'm interested to see where Ayub comes out, actually. Driven a pretty consistent race, just unlucky at the beginning, of course, to be spun round. But, you know, has been driving at a consistent pace. Doesn't really take a lot of time in the pit lane to do your pit stop. He's not going to do it on this lap, so he's going to wait at least one more lap to do that. And why not? He's got clear air. No point coming in just yet. As we've got more action, Pantheo gets through on Badaruk. We just missed it. That was into turn 3. But yeah, the race has calmed down ever so slightly, and not a moment too soon, because that has been an absolutely fantastic evening of racing, Michael, and we can enjoy the final 3.5 laps.
Yeah, I love every single moment of tonight's broadcast. Feeling a little bad for the guys that had the collisions and had to retire from the race, but that's part of racing, and they will come stronger next time. So in the end, it's at least a learning opportunity for each of us.
Yeah, 2.2 seconds now, the gap between Zesty and TJ. 2.1 seconds even, but just not enough. TJ did everything he could, really, but Zesty just had a couple of places further up the grid to start, kept it a little bit cleaner than TJ was able to, and just has the momentum and the edge at the moment, just doing enough to keep his race win dreams alive as he exits the final corner to make it 3 to go in race 2. Thanks everyone for joining for round 20 of the Fragmasters Fox Friday Championship in Live for Speed, as we see Ayub and then Gabor come across the start-finish line for the final 3-lap dash to the end.
And meanwhile, Fragmaster's Onifus is getting ever so closer to Master Race Car's kicks, and it might take about a lap before he gets there, but it looks like he will be able to get his position before the race ends. I'm not sure about their pit stop strategy, whether some of them has or has not done the pit stop, but looking at the pace alone, it looks like he will be under immense pressure very soon.
Yeah, and I wonder if Ayub's going to make Gabor do this overtake on the track. Ayub has been Well, there's been a number of cars going for it this evening. Finn UK being probably the driver I would pick out as going for it more than others. Actually, no. After Happy D's send on Doctor, I think Happy D steals that accolade away this evening. But plenty of drivers feeling as though they wanted to go for some races. I wonder whether this is the chance that Abe will decide to go into the pit lane just to avoid fighting necessarily with Gabor.
Yeah, we have only 2 laps to go, so for Ayub it's either now or the lap after when he can make the pit stop. I think he will stay on the track just to annoy Gabor. Yeah, he doesn't.
Ayub is
he
pitting.
might be faking, but not.
He's pitting.
He's actually pitting.
As Onifus,
yeah,
Take
he's
it.
side by side with Kick, and he's alongside. They managed to stay away from each other. And by the looks of it, Onifus now should have enough of a gap to avoid giving toe to the competitor. So that's P7 for him, as Ayub is now in
P7. Yeah, he's come out ahead of Al.
Yeah.
So that's a good effort, actually, considering that he was also at the back. Pig is going to rejoin somewhere mid-pack, P12, behind Johnny SVK, behind Pedro BR as well, his teammate, and so ahead of Kirku. So yeah, P14 in the end for Kig. As Zesty, it's getting close. It's less than a second now. I know there's only a lap to go, but am I allowed to be a little bit excited that we might end up with a fight here?
I'm a little skeptical, but I will cheer for you for your optimism. Yeah, it's 99 hundredths of a second at the second split of the penultimate lap. So TJ is running out of time to make something, but he definitely has pace to catch Zesty.
Zesty's made an error on that lap, so on the previous lap. So I wonder what has happened. Let's see what the time is as we go across the line. Where has the momentum gone? Is it still with Zesty? Let's have a look. It isn't. 2/10 and again in the next. So TJ only needs that slipstream to come on the final back straight. That's all he needs.
Yeah, the question is if it will ever happen, as we are now in the final lap. It's still about 7 or 8 tenths in between these two, and I'm not sure if TJ is able to get the time down that much unless Zesty makes a major mistake. But by the looks of it, it looks like TJ is getting ever so closely, so he might get there.
Yeah, much better line through the middle sector. I think
still 7 tenths between them.
Yeah, it might not be enough. TJ's going to have to dig deep to try and find something here. I was getting a little bit ahead of myself there, but Zesty definitely starting to show some cracks at the end of the race. But another 2 laps or something, and TJ would have been all over him. I don't think it's going to happen unless Zesty makes a mistake. Yeah, out of the penultimate corner, Michael, take it to the line.
Yeah, we are approaching the final turn of this race, and Zesty now has still about 7 tenths of a second lead over TJ, and it looks like it won't be enough for TJ to catch Zesty. He even goes a little bit sideways, but it's not good enough, and it looks like Zesty will be the first man to cross the finish line of this second race of tonight's Fragmaster Fox Friday, as he wins this race with TJ only 6 tenths of a second behind. And in P3, after a terrible start, it's Gabor, P4 Roger Chen, and we are watching Battle of Dark.
Yeah,
P10.
Doctor spun, and that's bad for TJ and Doctor's team championship hopes. So Doctor really didn't want to lose that place as well. At the line, comes home in P11 in the end. So the final car across the line will be Perry D, but a very, very well-deserved drive in the end there, Michael, for Zesty.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race and great performance from Zesty. Little lucky with Happy D and who was the second guy, taking themselves out of the lead, but
Doctor
still
and Happy D.
Yeah, it was Doctor. Yeah. So it was a little bit of luck for Zesty in that regard, but still a very impressive drive from him. And yeah, he has proved that he's one of the best drivers here. but so did TJ, and especially so did Gabor after that terrible start. Coming in P3 is a very incredible thing to do. So
Yeah, fair play to everybody here this evening. They put on a show for you. And final car across the line is Perry D. There we go. Everybody has finished, and we will quickly go through the order and wrap up today's action. Well, what action it was in race number 2. After starting way down the order, we have the familiar faces at the top. TJ from P15, not able to do it on this occasion. That accolade goes to Zesty, winner in the feature race in 38 minutes and 3 seconds. 6/10, Michael. I reckon a lap or two, and this could have been very different.
absolutely, it was getting very close, but TJ ran out of time sooner than before he got the opportunity. So Zesty was very lucky with that, and I think 2 more laps and TJ would have at least the opportunity to make the pass if he hadn't passed Zesty already by that.
Yeah, Gabor from the back after having a spin that wasn't his fault, drove into the side of someone who was already having an accident at turn 4. Manages to get back to within 4.5 seconds of Zesty at the end, that cannot be overstated how much of an effort that is. Impressive recovery from Gabor. Roger Chen, another solid drive, P4 for him. Master Race Cars, Conix, Sim Racing Polska Master, Born to Race Ayub, Fragmaster's Outpacing Anonymous, and Road Appraiser Dark round out your top 10. Then it's Dr. Johnny SVK, Pedro, Kig, Kirku87, Finn UK, Red Fox, Rocket, Pantheo, and Perry D, the top 20. Gabor did steal the fastest lap. It was ever so slightly slower, I think, than the fastest lap in race 1. Don't quote me. My memory's not that great these days, but there we go. 1 minute 29.41, the best lap in race 2. Over on the second page, we've got Spider-Man and Carfry, your 22 finishers, and then DNFs for Badaruk. Happy D, unfortunately, with that spectacular accident where he went for a send on Doctor into turn 2. A little bit overzealous, didn't pay out in the end. Doctor was pretty miserable by it, and fair enough. It was a bit of a send, Michael, that one.
Yeah, it was a very opportunistic move, but it turned out a very different way than was expected, and that allowed Zesty to get into the early lead, and he managed to win the race that way.
Yeah, Conquest Racing Hydine in P25. Rex with that unfortunate spin, somehow ending up at the back of the grid. I don't think we caught why he ended up all the way at the back, but incidents befalling him. Mozart, Adal, French Loser, and Hachiroku top 30, and Mandula DNFing after just a couple of laps. So again, an unusual one. DNFs from Mandula aren't that common, but there we are. He finishes last place in this one, unfortunately for him. Which leaves us, all we have to say at the end of this one, Michael, is that we have to thank our audience very much for watching. Thanks to the drivers, and we hope to see them all again next month at a combination to be decided on June 21st for round 25.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that race again, and hope to see everyone around to witness another spectacular race.
Yeah, I won't be around for that one. So, Michael, I leave everybody in your capable hands for round 25. And thank you very much, as always, for joining me in the commentary box for Fox Friday. That was special, that one. That was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I was running out of breath very often, so I think it will be a very silent night for me now.
Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your time in Switzerland, and safe travels back to Prague, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. We leave you with the trailer for Sunday's action, the 400 kilometres of West Hill. I think there's still time to sign up, so if you fancy that, please go and check out all the information about this race that's coming up on Sunday on the Live for Speed forum. The trailer for the West Hill, the 400 kilometres of West Hill by Race Green Events. From all of us here at Sim Broadcasts, we wish you a great evening. Have a good one, and good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5th edition of the 400 kilometers of West Hill.
Long track, 4 hours of length. This race is going to split the man from the boys.
Gentlemen, start your